If you ever wondered why this Mariners team frustrates you at times and when they lose, what drives you nuts, two plays today that were perfect microcosms of it that could have really changed the outcome of this game. The Salvador Perez fly ball that Julio jumped for 30 feet away from, and then Jorge Polanco getting picked off first base. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome in to the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. Mariners lose tonight 6-3 to the Royals. They fall to 44-41 on the season. Their wild card lead is now 1.5 over the Angels. Before I go any further, as always, the big three. Like the video, it does help out tremendously, especially in the losses. It really helps out because the views aren't as much on these normally. So thank you to everybody that does that. Comment your thoughts on the team and the game down below. And just 3 subs away from 4,800. So if you're new, lurking, like watching the channel, the videos, but haven't hit subscribe yet, please go ahead and do so. It also helps out tremendously. Yeah, I mean, those two plays kind of sum it up, right? Because those two plays change, and maybe this game does play out a little bit differently. I have no idea where Julio was jumping on that Salvador Perez fly ball. Listen, Julio's been tremendous defensively this year. There's metrics that have him as the best defender in baseball. Not a talent issue on a play like that. I just don't know where he was. And that ball went off the wall, but if Julio had gotten there, which he obviously has the skills to do so, I think that could have been caught, and it would have been a sacrifice fly. And then the Royals are at 4 runs. Who knows how it plays out? And Polanco getting picked off of first base. I am so done with the pickoffs. This team has to lead the league in it. I'm sure it's one of those things that everybody thinks their team is the worst at it, but there's no way the Mariners aren't the worst at it. At least when it's like a Julio or a Dylan Moore or Randy or something like that, it's at least guys that are threats to steal bases. What on earth is Polanco with his bum knee doing even like off the bag? He should have 2 feet on top of the bag at all times. There is no reason for him to even remotely have a lead. I get it. Every runner does. I'm being a little facetious here. But like, how? What are you doing on a play like that? And then Randy homers. Would he have homered if Polanco didn't get picked off? Who knows? Lorenzen maybe throws a different pitch there. But it's 2 plays that, right? If he doesn't get picked off there, maybe it's 3-2. Julio catches that fly ball. Maybe it's 4-3. Maybe the at-bat's a little different. Maybe Cole Young bunts in that 8th inning, and then maybe JP gets the run in. Who knows? And maybe you've got Munoz in the 9th, and it's 2 plays that is kind of a microcosm of this team's frustration when they lose. They don't seem to lose normally. Now, I'm not saying I want them to lose 10-0 every single game. That would be awful, and that's an indication that you are not a very good baseball team when you're constantly getting blown out and winning close games. Usually a sign that you're probably very fortunate or lucky. But the team just self-inflicted wounds in games, and this team, as I say all the time, does not have a massive margin for error. It's not a loss that I'm super up in arms about. I didn't think you were going to sweep a 4-game set. The Royals aren't amazing, but they're not bad enough where you just think you're going to get 4 games. You had Emerson Hancock going today. We'll talk about him in a minute here. And you got Logan Gilbert and Brian Wu going the next 2 days. So you feel okay that you can certainly at least split the series and still have a chance to win it with some better performances. So another game where it's just more of like how they're doing it than the loss itself. And it's little things that at the end of the year, and again, this is a team that has missed the playoffs the last 2 years by a game or 2 or somewhere in that range. And I know every team has losses. I can guarantee we could go talk to Guardians fans, Angels fans, Rangers fans, who else? Red Sox, Blue Jays fans, and they all have losses where they feel this, right? It's one of the unfortunate things of being a team that's kind of in that pile of good, not great, if you want to put it in that terms. That we all have losses that are very similar to this. But it is when you see where the Mariners have missed the playoffs, you wonder, is that the mistake? Is that the one that's going to cost them? Because they've been so close to not getting, or so close to getting in, I should say, not to, I butchered that. You guys know what I'm saying. So it's always in the back of our minds that that's the mistake, right? That's the one that's going to end up costing us, when it's time to dance in October. So always frustrating. And listen, obviously I don't know what Julio was doing on that fly ball, but let's make no mistakes. Emerson Hancock was not good. The Royals had a season high 20 hard hit balls. I'm sure some of those were off Pizarro and Burgos. I think most of them were off Emerson Hancock. In fact, I think he was probably worse than his final line, which was still not very good. I'm kind of at a point. I think you maybe give Logan Evans a few starts here before the trade deadline. I have said I do think starting pitcher is a need for this team. Pittsburgh's coming to town next. They're in the other locker room. Maybe you see, hey, just want to send Andrew Haney on over here. Let's maybe get a deal done. And Hancock's, I think the 5.47 ERA is a little misleading. But you look at a lot of things. The Savant page is not pretty. He's held his own, right? With the Bryce Miller injury, he's had some quality starts. He's kept them in a lot of games. But now we're starting to just get back into starts like this where it's just non-competitive and against a lineup that is just not very good in the Royals. If you're avoiding Bobby Witt, which he kind of did to an extent, you should be able to get through this lineup. And truthfully, like I said, I think he was probably lucky to only give up the 5 runs. Got out of some jams, early on. And again, like I said, Julio, I don't know what he was doing that play. And even the catch before off Pasquantino, I thought it was a great effort initially by Julio, but the expected batting average on that ball was only 390 or 380. So I don't know. But Hancock was not good. There's no way to spin it. He was not good today. And like I said, I'm just at a point where until you get to the deadline, maybe make a move. Is there harm in seeing if Logan Evans could be a little bit better for a handful of starts? I don't think there is. So I think it's something to look into here for the Mariners for sure. And then the double plays, man, every crucial at bat, it's felt like the last, 2 series, they've grounded into double plays. They had a chance to again today. Solano hits into a double play. Then Cole Young actually gets ahead 3-0. And then on a 3-1 pitch grounds into a double play. I think Solano's is in the 6th. And then Cole Young's was in the 7th. Opportunities there where, and again, like, don't have to hit the ball out of the ballpark, but even if Cole Young like hits it, little dribbler to short or something and advances the runners, maybe you get a run there. Solano, same thing, hits a ball in the air, maybe advances a runner. So just little things where the team is just, not getting the job done in some big opportunities. Royals bullpen's really good. You don't want to get in a bullpen battle with them because you're likely, unless it's Munoz and Brash and Spire, you're just not going to win that battle. So you've got to beat them like you did yesterday. You got to Michael Wacha. Kirby was outstanding, and the offense did enough, and the bullpen held, the Royals offense in check. Now, again, you feel pretty good with Gilbert and Wu that you can do that. Logan's got to kind of dial it in a little bit. He's been good, but he's had trouble finishing some starts. Kansas City's hopefully a team he can do that against. Just got to find a way to get through in those situations. That's how you beat this team. If you get behind and you're facing their bullpen, that's when the Royals become dangerous. They are good defensively, and their bullpen has a lot of really good arms. We saw him today. Schreiber's good. Zerpa struggled a little. Well, the ump, I think, cost him. There was a couple pitches there to Williams that were not balls, but we'll take it. And the ump wasn't great in terms of the Mariners' favor either in some of earlier situations. Urseg's really good. I don't know Cruz too well, but he looked dominant. And then Esteves is really good at the end there. So got to find a way to get to him early. Let's look at the box score here. Emerson Hancock, 6 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, all earned, 3 walks, 1 Ks. He was not good, especially against that lineup. That's not a good start. It looked like maybe he was going to get through it with 3 earned runs. Even then, I was going to say he wasn't good. Battle, I would have given him I always give him the credit when they battle through. And again, sure, maybe Julio probably, I don't know what he was doing on that fly ball to Perez, but that was still a ball hit like 395 feet at a 107 exit velo. So let's not act like it was a little pop-up that Hancock induced. That was extremely hard contact. So both deserve blame. I don't know what Julio was doing, but also Hancock probably didn't deserve to have that ball caught either. He was bad. I would give Logan Evans another look. And then, like I said, Pittsburgh's in town. I might just go across, knock on the door, and see what it costs to have Andrew Haney come over the other way. Pizarro throws an inning. He was fine, gave up a hit. Juan Burgos made his MLB debut. Thought he looked pretty solid. 2 innings, 2 hits. The one, the one that cost him the run was the Bobby Witt double off the wall, and then Perez hit one solid back up the middle. Was kind of the nail in the coffin a little bit. But I thought Burgos looked pretty good. I feel like I've said that a lot about guys that make their debut at the Mariners and they give up like 14 runs in their next inning. But he looked like maybe a legitimate weapon. We'll see if he sticks with the team or if they make a roster move here. But I thought he looked pretty solid for his MLB debut, and always cool to see guys make their major league debuts. Let's go ahead and look at the offense here. 7 hits, 3 walks. Mariners score 3 runs. Some moments where they did okay offensively. They got to Lorenzen a little bit there, and chased him from the game, I think at 4 2/3, actually. Yeah, so they did get him out, or chased him out of the game. Couldn't add on against a really tough bullpen despite some opportunities. So not a great game for the offense. Got some base runners, but just didn't do enough. JP was 1 for 4 with the RBI single in the 5th. Thought that was a big hit for JP at the time. Made it 5-3, got back in the game a little bit. Julio was bad today, 0 for 4. And man, with Julio, like, if the bat's going to be what it's been, which is league average, slightly above, I think his WRC plus is like 103, 104, then you got to make the defensive plays. And he has, but definitely a rough day for Julio, no doubt. Cal was bad today, 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. And when you're top 3, you're going 1 for 12 with, 6 Ks, it's going to be a long day. Polanco, I mean, to his credit, was 1 for 3 with a walk, so he was on base twice. But even there, managed to screw that up somehow, right? With getting picked off. Randy was solid today, 2 for 4, another home run, 3 in 2 days for Randy. Luke Raley was 1 for 2. Solano pinched hit for Raley. I believe that was in the 6th and grounded into a double play. I might have let Raley bat there for a couple reasons. One, less of a double play candidate. I get versus the lefty wanting Solano in there. But Raley hasn't been toast against lefties. And again, less chance of grounding into a double play. So you're going to more likely to give yourself another opportunity. Then maybe I have Solano pinch hit for Canzone, because if Raley does make an out, then it's with 2 outs. So there is no double play risk. I don't know. And Canzone's actually handled himself pretty well against lefties. I might have let Raley and Dom have those at-bats just to see. They've been dialed in enough. Solano's obviously swung the bat better, but there's just not enough of a power threat there where I think that's necessarily a great move. Solano was 0 for 2. Canzone was 0 for 2. Dylan Moore pinched hit for him. Did walk. Demo again, still not making any contact. Wasn't close on anything, but managed to at least spit on some pitches that weren't there. So listen, the guy had 1 plate appearance and had a 1,000 OPP today. So today's not the day to rip on him. Masterboni pinched hit was 0 for 1. Ben Williamson actually had a pretty nice day today. 1 for 2 with an RBI double. Also worked a walk. He probably struck out in that at bat, but not his fault. The ump missed those calls and made a couple really nice plays at third. There was one on Bobby Witt that he hit deep into the hole that Williamson made a great play on and got Witt out fairly easily. Not easy to do there. So actually a nice game for Ben Williamson. Cole Young did have a base hit. Unfortunately in a crucial at bat there in the 7th, grounded into a double play with runners at first and second. Looked good. He was ahead 3-0 in the count. Looked like he might get on base there, make a little something happen. But 3-1 pitch that probably wasn't a strike. Who knows with this umpire tonight? Like I said, he was terrible, but probably one he shouldn't have swung out. With 2 strikes, you can understand a little bit more protecting. And in terms of bunting there, I would not have bunted. Not down 2, down 1. Sure, I would have probably bunted with Cole Young. Not down by 2 runs, especially against the Royals bullpen. It's too good. You don't want to give away outs versus them. You just got to find a way, because if they've got strikeout stuff too. So if JP strikes out there, then you just threw away a potential out. So just want to set that out there. I would not have bunted with Cole Young. Don't swing at that pitch. Easier said than done, though, for sure. Yeah, I mean, listen, again, just little things in the game. It feels like every Mariners loss, right? Little things within it that are frustrating. Big picture-wise, I mean, again, come back tomorrow. You still got a chance to win this series. Worst case split. Again, Pittsburgh coming in without Paul Skeens, so you got to feel pretty good there. Although they are playing pretty good ball, and I do get a little bit worried with all the games the team has played in so many days. This is game number what? They've got 2 more, 5 more, so tomorrow will be game 13 in 13 days. Do get a little nervous about some fatigue settling, and not using as an excuse. We'll be very clear on that, but the team's not elite enough to inspire so much confidence where you're not worried about those things. So it's a team that you do worry about the little things with. So, like I said, Logan going tomorrow. Feel pretty good about that. Woo the next day. Hopefully just chalk this one up to Emerson Hancock just not being very good. We'll see if he makes his next start. He probably does against Pittsburgh. And I will say, though, if you're going to go to Logan Evans, wouldn't be a bad time to do it. Pittsburgh, not a very good lineup. Probably still some confidence, have a good start, but you could look at that both ways and say, stick with Hancock for that reason. As well, I don't want to sound super like, Jay, you've praised Hancock. I have. I think he's done fine, right? The big issue is the Bryce Miller injury, and I don't think Bryce will be back this year, in my opinion. I think he should just get the surgery. I'm not a doctor by any means, so I'm not trying to prescribe anything here. But that's been the big issue, and it's been a big loss, right? Bryce Miller was a top 3-4 Cy Young candidate last season. And he's pretty much been nothing for you this year. I think he's had one start where I went, ooh, nice. And that was in Cincinnati in April. Other than that, he's been, really, really poor. And Hancock stepped in and gave you a chance to win a lot of the games that he started outside of maybe 2 or 3 of them. But it's just hasn't been good enough. And Logan Evans was good enough that I think it's worth a look, right? Like, I don't think there's any harm in seeing if Evans can do it, especially before the deadline. And if you're thinking of making a move for a starting pitcher, which I definitely think the Mariners should. Doesn't have to be Andrew Haney. But whoever it is that you're looking to add, I think you want to make sure that, you've gone through all your internal options before making that move. So we will see. Hey, it's July 1st, which means it is the trade deadline month. So we will see what is to happen here at the end of the month. It could be exciting. So I would be very shocked if the Mariners don't make some moves. I very much think they will be in it still at the deadline. They'll be frustrating, but listen, it's going to be the Mariners, right? They're going to have games where we go, oh my gosh, there's no chance they're in this. Then they're going to, go to Detroit and sweep, but lose 2 out of 3. It's the Mariners. They'll lose 2 out of 3 to Pittsburgh, sweep Detroit. I'm not predicting that. We know what this team is. We know how they are. But this wild card race is very weak. There's a very, very, very good chance that come trade deadline, they'll be in a playoff position. So, and they've got chips, right? That they have the prospects to make moves. So I definitely think they will be very, very active. Someone did ask me what I think they need to add. I mean, we'll get into it more as we get closer. Position-wise, I would say another reliever never hurts. Never hurts another arm down there. I am kind of leaning towards getting a starting pitcher, and I would still look to upgrade first base. Like Solano's been better for sure, but if you can get Ryan O'Hearn, Nathaniel Lowe, Josh Naylor, one of those guys. Third base too, like if you can get a Geno Suarez, I don't think you're going to get all of this for the record, but I think third base is a little bit harder to upgrade, just not as many guys out there, unless maybe Cleveland just completely falls off and they're willing to put Jose Ramirez on the market, then things change a little bit and the Guardians can have the pick of the litter as far as I'm concerned for Ramirez. But most everybody else is going to be kind of rental players, and so it'll be interesting. But that would be kind of the positions that I would look to upgrade. And unfortunately, with the way Dylan Moore's playing, maybe that's even a spot too. Maybe Isaiah Kiner Falefa, someone like that would be a name to keep an eye on. So anyway, again, I haven't looked at a lot of it yet. Just me throwing out my 2 cents. We'll see. Like, comment, subscribe. Real quick. The next few days, I will be not out of town, but not home for a little 4th of July trip. So you'll probably be getting post-game recaps the next 3 nights from the phone. They may not be as lengthy or long. I'm probably going to miss the games. So you're just going to have to kind of make do with the quick and dismissive recaps. And then next week I'll be out of town as well. So next couple weeks, just please bear with me. The recaps are going to be a little spotty for sure. So take care, everybody. Love y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. And as always, go Mariners.